Hello traders, you are watching Weekly Forex Outlook by Liteforex. From this video, you will find out the most exciting trading opportunities for the main currency pairs. As you can see, the US dollar index is trading near the highs of this year. However, on the upside, it is limited by the resistance line, which goes back to the levels of 2016. And this means that it is a major obstacle for buyers. The main topics remain trade talks between the United States and China, and the issue of Brexit as the deadline for Britain to exit from the European Union is approaching. Actually, it is on Friday, April 12th. So you can see that the situation will get more intense here. As for the talk between the United States and China, last week Chinese officials went to Washington. However, we do not know yet the details of the negotiations, whether progress has been made or not. And this week we can expect some information about that, some statements from both the United States and China. Let us have a look at the economic calendar at liteforex.com in order to see which events will move major currencies in the upcoming days. And here we need to pay attention to the fact that Tuesday and Wednesday will be important for the British pound. On Tuesday, British Prime Minister Theresa May will go to Berlin and to Paris to speak with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron. And on Wednesday, there will be a summit between the European Union and Britain, the summit about Brexit. And the market now expects that the European Union will approve some kind of extension to Brexit process. That may be a short extension until the end of June or a long extension until March 2020. There are disagreements about these dates. However, the longer extension seems a little bit more likely. If that happens, the initial reaction of the British pound may be positive. However, in the longer term, the pound may start feeling uncertainty, and a lot of things depend on what will accompany this extension decision, whether Prime Minister Theresa May will manage to persuade British lawmakers to approve her Brexit plan after all, or whether the Brexit referendum will be once again reconsidered. If, however, there is no extension to Brexit, then the British pound will likely fall significantly because traders will be afraid that Britain leaves the European Union without a deal. Other economic events include the release of British GDP figures on Wednesday. The British economic growth was doing fine during 2018, but showed slowdown in February, and that is a bit worrying. So let's see what actually happens. You can see that the forecast is that the economic growth will decline. In addition, on Wednesday, there will be a meeting of the European Central Bank. At the last meeting in March, the regulator reduced its economic forecasts and announced TLTRO, the measures which are aimed to help the region's banks get liquidity. So the European Central Bank turned dovish, and this put the euro under negative pressure. This time there won't be such major announcements at the meeting. However, there will be a press conference, and we know that the ECB President Mario Draghi is very capable of moving the euro much with his verbal commands. So pay attention to this event. In addition, later on Wednesday, there will be the release of the Federal Reserve's meeting minutes. at its March meeting, American Central Bank said that it will stop reducing its balance sheets in September, and it also let the market know that no rate hikes are expected this year, so it also made a dovish shift and helped the stock markets while limiting the ability of the USD to strengthen. So more details about the Fed's view of the situation certainly will have a big impact on the USD and the currency market in general. On Thursday, we'll hear news from oil exporters as there will be a meeting of OPEC. And so far, oil has been on the upside because of concerns about supply, and the market is very dynamic, so the event will surely be very, very important. United States will release PPI, Producer Price Index, on Thursday, and Consumer Price Index on Wednesday, and Consumer Confidence on Friday. These are the main events we need to watch. And now we get back to our charts to see whether the situation changed since the last time we made our analysis. You can see that support at 1.12 still stays for the euro dollar. Here we have Fibonacci level, and demand for the euro exists at this point. On the daily chart, we can see that the price is recovered to the resistance level we have mentioned. There is potential for the euro to get higher to levels around 113 and 113.30. However, the further upside for the euro will likely remain limited, given the fact that the meeting of the European Central Bank approaches, and likely selling interest for the euro will once again be reignited between 1.13 and 1.1350, so that euro will turn down from this area back to 1.12. British pound made a dodgy candlestick on the weekly chart with a very big upper shadow. The resistance levels on the upside still remains at 1.3215 and 1.3385. These levels are very attainable given the fact that major Brexit developments are going to take place this week. So these are the perfect targets for the near term. Only below 1.30 will the negative pressure on the pound strengthen, and in this case the target will lie around 1.2770, and if no Brexit deal is on the horizon, then 1.24. The US dollar tried to get above 111.50 versus the Japanese yen, but was stopped by resistance around 111.80, and now it looks like the pair is returning below the short-term resistance and now support line. So if we close below levels around 111, that may be a bullish trap, and the negative pressure on the USD will intensify. If the currency manages to return above 111.50, the moving averages may have some positive intersection here. Then the USD will try to get to gather bullish momentum and retest 112.15. Above that, the next target will be at 113.15. Support is located around 110.50, 110 marks. The US dollar also didn't manage to get substantially higher versus the Canadian currency and was rejected to the downside to trade around support at 1.33, as Canadian dollar was helped by higher oil prices. So now the currency pair risks revisiting levels around 1.3230, and the major support is located at 200-day moving average around 1.32. The Australian dollar is rising on the improved risk sentiment and higher commodity prices, but we have a look at significant resistance which will occur around 0.72, and it's difficult to make any bullish forecasts for the Australian currency as long as we stay below that point. New Zealand dollar breached some support versus the USD. It found some demand around 0.6730, and we see a temporary recovery, and this recovery will face the test as the price returns towards 0.6780 area, and an increase above 0.6815 is needed to for the pair to return to the bullish framework and to be able to get once again to test levels around 0.69, although here we face significant resistance. Gold is trying to get higher as the USD is weakening. The resistance is located around 1300 mark and 1307, ahead of 1320, where we will draw the resistance line. And finally, Brent oil is above 70. It has rebounded from 200-day moving average, and concerns about supply, conflicts and fighting in Libya, sanctions on Venezuela and Iran are pushing the price to the upside, and we have inside the level of 72.55 as the target. This is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Subscribe to Liteforex channel on YouTube and visit the website to trade with the company.